So, hi. There was a lot going on today. I tried to record some videos of myself. It's not always an optimal time for that. I've been working a lot on the theory of the workspace. I keep talking about it. I won't even name it, the Historiotope there. It's what happened is I got into the idea of rhythm, because I do music, and I might talk a little bit more about the musical aspect, because I think that, I was thinking about entrainment and oscillators and stuff, and I have a very low frequency, and so in the workspace I have this switchboard method where I change tasks every 15 minutes or so, and it helps me get into the flow, because it's like a decisionless process. I don't even have to make a decision. I go with whatever is proximate, either physically on my stacks of books, or it's in my consciousness, whatever's closest, ready to hand, and so I was thinking of the phenomenological rhythm, being in time, and also there's something about being in the old village where I live. I'm writing a symphony right now about the old village. It's been 10 years I've been trying to write it, but it's so hard to compose, in today's world. There's digital fatigue and all that. There's exhaustion, digital exhaustion. Everyone's seemingly trying to get into that higher frequency state, but I'm no, go down, deep down, with the basement. You gotta be under the basement. I call it sometimes being the inner mountain, you're underneath the pyramids, buried down deep under the earth. It's the only place where I feel comfortable, funny enough. So I think it's called Zanshin, in Aikido or in other martial arts. I'm not sure which martial arts from. I'm not an expert in that, but I did do some martial arts, but I do feel it in Zanshin, that I call it sometimes the virgin point, in my soul. For instance, I went for a walk today in the morning. I did my morning constitutional, and I kept getting disturbed by joggers, and it's not. I love seeing people. It's a heart-to-heart encounter, You can't be indifferent when you see people. It always moves me, But my ears were super sensitive. I could hear there was an airplane at one point, and I hear every little sound. It's unbelievable. I had a teacher said I had $1 million ears. I studied computer-assisted sound design. Anyway, so for 10 years I've been trying to compose, and it requires that. I call it the serious immobilities. It's a line from Erik Satie. He said that for his piece Vexations, I forget how many times. It's a short sequence that you have to repeat 800 times, whatever. He said to one of the instructions, he said was to have serious immobilities, And that's the thing. I try to be like a mountain that nothing can disturb, but then I'm disturbed by a guy, a UPS guy delivering something, What I call the anti-signal, that's what pretty much my name on all the platforms, and people have asked me what does that mean, Well, you got signal, you got noise, you got anti-noise, which is I guess anti-phase, and you got anti-signal. Anti-signal is just the fourth term. It's my response that when I hear that field, that sound field, when I walk out in the ambient space, I hear the stars almost, I hear the clouds, it's a kind of clairaudience. Anyways, so it's my response to that, from within. It doesn't have to be a big, right now I'm a little bit more speedy than I was this morning. I was much slower, So because I had a lot of things that when I left, I went to the library, went to see my father, worked a bit, did a lot of reading. I believe that in the old village that an artist like me, it helps to resynchronize people, because I was saying the low frequency, it has an effect on people. It's really hard, even though I have the words all written down. I don't like to read from text, even though I wrote it. I like to improvise. So we'll go back to the workspace. That's what it always comes to these days. It's there's the Seasons of the Heart project, which is music. I feel like talking about music a little bit, because people don't know that aspect about me. It's also writing and recording music and doing sound design and electronic music for 30 years, and that's where I got this switchboard method from, like, because when I was doing audio work, like in studios, and you're always switching. You're placing a mic 1 second, then you're back behind the console. You're fixing something. You got a problem with like the tape or whatever. You can't find so like you don't know where you are and where you left off earlier, and like, so I made it so that I don't have to think. I just get like in that sort of like mindless wandering, like not zombified, but like more like that default mode where like, so I'm just like going through the motions, kind of like Aikido, although I'm not an Aikido expert. Like that's how I interpret it when I read the books there. I do practice like Feldacross and all that. But so what did I want to talk to you about today? Periodic oscillations, position yourself strategically. Polyphony. I believe that there's clock time and there's deep time, and there was the birth of what I call linear chronology, the birth of the clock, the birth of true polyphony. Probably we're looking at the Carolingian Renaissance, 8th and 9th century, and transition to the High Middle Ages. Now, I thought a lot about this, and a lot of it, it comes back to like chronology and chronobiology too, the rhythms, which is what I started with. I know it sounds like it's not making any sense, but it's all the same thing. Like the Season of the Hearts project is just a year-long secular liturgy. And what's liturgy? I mean, it's public work made by the public for the public. I mean, you could put it that way. It's secular. It's not religious, and like it has to do with rhythm and the pulse. Like I want songs for the whole year. Any moment, like it could be like 1,200 pieces of music. I've been trying to make as many as I can. It's a long process, and the quality's not always the best. Although I'm like a lo-fi artist there. The other thing about the workspace, but I already don't want to repeat it myself too much, is that it's like it has to do a lot with space. The spatial, the memory, the context dependent memory, the learning, the state dependent, like in your body. So, like I'm a very like spatial kinesthetic thinker. It's all about the space, and I'm inhabiting a space. And I'm working in a space, and the time aspect is like I was saying. It's the being in time. So you're being in space too, but you don't. That's like self-evident. What's not obvious is that you're actually being in and through time, and we can understand that and say like, yeah, obviously, But anyways, the workspace is a magical place. It's not actual magic. I just mean like it's special, in my mind. Like mechanical time didn't necessarily exist. There was even a time where I don't think humans or hominins, whatever they call hominini there, I don't think they actually like were aware that there was a yesterday, and a tomorrow. Like they just lived in the moment. And before like the clock and the polyphony and all that, I think that before the birth of linear chronology, I think that there's probably cyclical time, and I think today like we're in like anti-time, or I don't know what's called, the anti-present, this deep time. Because I think you go back and look at the Cubists and painting and like the different movements, and it seems like time is a huge aspect of it. The vision that people have of time, the conception that they have of time. Things happen, new technologies, but not just that. Like there was a creation of the great cathedrals, and like those were at around those years, and those were like massive intergenerational projects, and like so it takes a lot of organization, and I think that's where you get like a bit of bureaucracy and a lot of accounting. When I said in one of my other videos about the accounting errors there, like you can't make an error. You can't you can't miss your measurement by a millimeter. It's too much. It's the same thing in the workspace and in the Historiotope, and when I'm making music, it's especially true. Like sometimes I wonder, like, is it the nature of the sound that disturbed me, or is it something like how did I get disturbed? I shouldn't be disturbed like that, but I get my balance back really quick, but it's tough. It hurts. Like it's hurtful. Like in my feelings. I'm supposed to have like 30 years of experience as a sound designer, composer, and all this, painter, and like someone just snaps their finger and I fall on my ass. Like I try to get that Zanshin, that inner like I don't know what to call it, core strength, or anyways, cycles around. I know it sounds like I have OCD, and I'm doing cognitive rituals, you know. So the anti-signal is my response to the ambient field. And yeah, I covered everything I wanted to. It's just not in the right order, you know. But I'm going to switch every 15 minutes anyways. Like it's just, you got to know what the documentation, the archives, and you got to know what you're working on, where you are situated in the workspace, you know. And it's tough because I live where I work, and that's really not good. You know, I shouldn't have to do that, but it's kind of tough times there. And I'll finish with this. Like, I made a few videos lately, and one of them I was talking about like safety and security, health and safety in the workspace. Like, I talk about all sorts of stuff, and I've researched it a great deal. You know, I'm not just talking out of my ass. And when I say that to people, like, yeah, but did you think about this? You know, like, and I'm thinking, yeah, but you're always thinking about catastrophes and failures. Like, can we just think about how great this is going to be if it all works out? I'm like, no, you got to do a pre-mortem analysis. Like, you pretend like it already failed, and you reverse engineer it. You know, you take steps back, and then I'm always doing post-mortems, like of what I did this morning, when I went to the library and all that. Got some. This is funny. It's Umberto Eco. It's Writings on Thought in the Middle Ages. It's a fat book. I was reading about art specifically, like, it's crazy. I'm going to get some of that. You know, the architecture of the workspace. There's it all comes back. Yeah, the brain as a symphony. Earnestness to me, and also, yeah, this is what I want to get to before the digital exhaustion. It equals an arrhythmia. Modern culture creates arrhythmia, loss of rhythm. Big screens at midnight and constant notifications break our biological clocks. This causes a feeling of being untethered from time. And then also, when I release my cultural goods, paintings, music, texts that require slow, deliberate engagement, I'm essentially offering the community a resynchronization signal. So I'm helping their nervous systems downshift from a frantic 100 hertz of the internet to the calm 10 hertz of contemplative life. And there, I pretty much went all around what I had to say for today. I know the sequencing is bizarre because it's kind of non-linear, but I mean, you notice how I'm not moving around frantically, you know. Those are my words. Thanks for listening.